Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kazakhstan American Corners program again. Today is our second session on ACK English Teacher Professional Development Series. Hooray, okay. We are so excited again to have all of you. Thank you for joining us today on this great evening. My name is Sultanat. Some of you know me, like I'm American Corner Nur-Sultan coordinator. And today I also will be with you along with my colleague, behind the scene, Dosan, who will be serving you as a moderator on the chat. Let's see. So today is our second webinar in our session. We will talk about avoiding English teacher burnout in Kazakhstan with our lovely special guest, Ayash Myrzabekova. Hi, Ayash. Also, I would like to remind you that session duration is 60 minutes. Stay tuned till the end. And let's be active on the chat as you always be. Thank you for that. Some of our rules, I think there's no need to remind you because all of you know them. Just look through the slide. And I want just to notice that we have our YouTube channel. If you missed the first session, it's okay, the first webinar. We already have our recordings in our YouTube channel. It's called American Corner Kazakhstan. I also will write on the chat, like the link. That's all. Let's hand you over to our virtual English language fellow, US Department of State program, Mr. August Garnsey. Hello, August. How are you doing?
Hello, Sultanat. Definitely, I'm doing well. Good evening, wonderful, talented teachers of English from the Great Republic of Kazakhstan. My pleasure to be here. Always one of the best things I look forward to every week is being able to provide the webinars through American Corners Kazakhstan and be able to work with Sultanat to provide you professional development, training, other knowledge and skills to hopefully help improve your teaching practices. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. All right.
Yeah, it's good. You can see your slide.
All right. So that way, so again, so Sultanat already mentioned kind of about our English teacher development series that we're doing here. So this is the second session, again, of the 4 that I will be providing. Next week, we'll be focusing on digital vocabulary development tools. And then in the last session, at the end of April, we'll be focusing on using debates in foreign language teaching. And I'm really thrilled today to have our special invited guest, Ayash Myrzabekova, to join us here later. She'll come in here after I am done speaking. So really, I'm so thankful to have her joining us today. So most of you, I think, know most about me already. Again, so I am the current virtual English language fellow here for Nur-Sultan, and I am partnered and teach at Eurasian National University here at Nur-Sultan. I work in the Foreign Language Theory and Practice Department, and I teach graduate and undergraduate courses, as well as I work with many wonderful groups for our English Access Micro Scholarship Program with the U.S. Department of State all across Kazakhstan. And also, again, my work here with American Corners Kazakhstan. Now, previously, I was an international English teacher at NIS Kokshetau, or NISH Kokshetau. And your consent here to use a photographic image and audio, just to remind everybody, by attending this event, you consent to any kind of maybe promotional pictures or video, audio, or anything that may be used. All right. So again, so today is avoiding English teacher burnout in Kazakhstan. Okay, so wave the help flag. Help. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's get into this. Now, in this webinar, you will collectively build perspective on burnout within our own English language teaching community, gain an overview of burnout, be able to identify the difference between just being burnt out and actually just maybe feeling stuck, recognizing the warning signs, and then acquiring strategies to avoid burnout as an English teacher in Kazakhstan. And that will be split, and Ayash will provide her strategies as well, as so will I. And hopefully those will help you out going forward. Okay, so Sultanat, if you don't mind, if you can go ahead and put this link into the chat, just if I can get a little bit of some information about who are we, okay? As a whole, we have a large group, well over 100 participants here joining us today for this webinar. So who are all of us? And I'd like to know this so that way I can help better target maybe specific content and solutions for going forward with future webinars that I provide. So again, that is in the chat right now. So please take a moment to fill out that survey while you're watching the webinar here. Okay, so let's go ahead and I want to just kind of throw this out here. Okay, let's just say in a perfect world, everyone. Okay, now okay. So let's hear. If you had 2 hours of free time each week. Okay, again, let's just pretend, okay, because I know, English language teachers in Kazakhstan, I've been there, I know what kind of workload you have. But let's just say you have 2 hours of free time each week. What would you do with it? We're talking about uninterrupted time. So again, so you're not working, you're not thinking about your work, no other obligations to family or friends or relatives. You don't have to pick up the kids, you don't have to take the kids anywhere. You don't have to do any cooking, any household chores or anything like that. Okay, so put in the chat, what would you do? And let's take a look to see what would you like to do with those 2 hours per week?
Yeah, let's pretend like we have 2 hours of free time. Let's see what our participants will do. I feel like 5 participants who answer, they will read, and I like this one. I would be dancing, said Zamzagul.
All right.
I would go to the nature, watch films, movies, sleep, do sports, great, travel, watch TV, why not? Walk around, just relax. Again, walk, it's good, play volleyball.
Okay.
Doing aerobics.
Right.
I like this.
Yeah, so we have, a variety of different things that you'd like to do. If you had that 2 hours per week, some of us may we want to read, we want to relax, maybe we go for a walk, maybe we want to do some exercise, maybe we want to travel, maybe we just want to lock ourselves in a closet, for a couple of hours and just stay away from people, But again, keep this thought in mind going forward. I'm going to come back to this later on in the presentation, okay? But just keep this in mind, okay? But thank you, everyone, for your participation in those answers. So I don't really need to say too much, but let's just say if we're trying to kind of illustrate maybe the feeling of tiredness as an English language teacher, maybe there's something here that you can kind of relate to. Okay, maybe it's, the falling down the stairs, the chocolates. Okay, we know what we're talking about here. Okay, the chocolate, or just the overall people just not understanding why you look or feel the way that you do. So again, I just want to just kind of show this again, the kind of the feeling, just that way we all are aware of it. We know exactly, often the typical feeling of an English language teaching professional. The main point is that, it can be a tiring job, okay? And there's a lot of maybe complex situations we have to deal with, lots of different challenges that we have to deal with, which makes us feel quite a few different things. And tired and stressful can be definitely one of them. So bring us to our topic now of burnout. So what do you know about burnout? How about collectively, let's go ahead and let's build kind of our understanding here of what burnout is. So, what do you know about English teacher burnout in Kazakhstan? Please, go ahead and put into the chat, your thoughts. Maybe it's single words to maybe describe certain feelings that, that you want to share. Maybe there's certain phrases or other things that you'd like to share about it. But what do we know collectively here about burnout? So let's take a look at the chat and see what we think. Let's take a look here. Okay, so I see lots of answers coming through here. Okay, I see lots of things coming through here. All right.
Be lazy.
Yeah, we see that. We see these things here. All right.
No work, want to turn off the world, no work and private life balance. Yeah, balance is important between private life and work. Feeling disappointed, exhausted, without motivation, or just do your job automatically without any passion, overloaded. It's everything. It sounds so sad. Yeah, when you feel stressed, don't have any ambitions for work further, and work like a robot.
I saw there was one comment I just happened to just kind of notice here about term 3, kind of the term 3 blues, as I like to maybe kind of mention it. You know, the school year starts out, you know, in term 1, and you know what I'm talking about. You know, we're all experienced English language teaching professionals. You know, and the year starts and you have certain kind of feelings, expectations. You know, then term 2 comes rolling around, and then when that term 3 hits, kind of some things kind of, you know, set in, reality kind of sets in, and some of these kind of these feelings and these emotions that you've expressed and that you've mentioned in the chat, you know, a lot of these really start to come up in that third term, you know, the third term blues, which is universal all over in the US. Same thing, teachers would feel the same thing at the same time period. You know, Kazakhstan's no different, okay? But thank you though for everybody for, you know, for your responses. And I feel that we all kind of do understand, you know, what is burnout, okay? We all can kind of say these kind of feelings and what we think and what we know about burnout. But I want to be kind of clear and clarify a few things though, going forward, okay? So here's kind of this little, let's just paint this little picture here, okay, to really kind of clarify things. Have you ever had a moment where you were just so lost in thought, you went past your destination, okay? And I think you guys know what I'm talking about here, but let me kind of paint an even more clear picture, okay? So imagine this, okay? And I've been there. I've definitely been there many times. I'm not shy to admit I've been there. You know, you're walking, you're thinking about things, you're feeling certain kinds of pressures, and you know, you've been working at a school for 5+ years, and you realize suddenly, wait a minute, I walked past my room, it was, you know, 8 doors down, where am I going? You know, or, you know, you walk down the wrong hallway or the wrong wing of the school, even though you've been there for more than 5 years, you know, or that one situation that, you know, maybe we don't have to admit, but if we're being honest, it's happened to us. You know, you're preparing for your next lesson. You know that you need to get your book, you know, your textbook for that group of students. And you're like, I need to go get it. I left in the teacher's prep room. And then you go to the prep room to go retrieve that book. You walk there, you go in the room, you go to your desk, you walk out of the teacher's room, you walk towards your classroom, only to realize that you didn't actually get the book, you forgot it. So, you know, being lost in that stressful mental loop where you can't even find your classroom, you don't even know kind of what you're doing. Okay, so burnout has some huge impact and tremendous impact on us. So it comes from this mismatch between the demands of the role, it's unbalanced with the resources that are available for us to cope with things, okay? And we all kind of feel like kind of just sometimes maybe screaming for help sometimes because we feel that these resources aren't keeping up with the demands that are on us as professionals. But keep in mind though, burnout doesn't happen from just one event. It's a gradual onset, okay? So it doesn't happen overnight. This won't be something that just, it may feel like suddenly it sneaks up on you, but that's not really the case. What happens is, you know, we fail to reflect when things are building. We don't get a hold of that kind of that mind and body kind of connection that we really need to have. And last week I talked about emotional intelligence. This is also where high, you know, EQ, that emotional intelligence does come into play. You know, the self-awareness, you know, self-regulation, social awareness, relationship management, especially that self-awareness or that self-recognition is really, really important in this process about identifying things if you're burnt out or you're going towards this path, you know, this deep kind of dark path that you don't want to actually hit that wall, okay? Now, I do want to mention, because there's something kind of important, something kind of critical, because I feel that there's kind of two situations, but a lot of times as educators, we may kind of lump these together. Okay. The difference between feeling stuck and actually being burnt out. Okay. Now, recently, I came across something in social media on Facebook that was posted by best-selling, well-known author Mel Robbins. Maybe some of the rest of you may have noticed or saw. Okay, or maybe you follow Mel Robbins, um, and maybe you saw this through Facebook because she posted not too long ago, and I was like, wow, I mean, this really makes a lot of sense. And I wanted to kind of put something into words for all of us to be able to make this distinction because it's an important one as a professional educator. Okay. So Mel Robbins, what she wrote was, what is feeling stuck? And to her, she says, it happens when you've stopped growing. Okay, so professionally, you lose this feeling, this sense of purpose, and you don't really have that big picture anymore in mind because, probably you're overloaded with a lot of tasks, a lot of things that are put on you, obligations and responsibilities as a professional educator, and where you are no longer learning now, which makes you feel kind of tired. And that dreaded word that I hate, complacent, meaning like, you just internalize things. Okay. Well, that's just the way it is. What can I do about it type of thing where you internalize something. So that's feeling stuck. Okay. So what about the difference between actual being burnt out? Now, this actually comes from an extreme level, chronic, so constant workplace stress that just wasn't managed correctly. And this is where you get to the point where you feel physically, cognitively, emotionally just beaten down, complete exhaustion, which makes it very difficult for you to work, effectively. And also at this point, you stop feeling good about what you're doing with your work. We all became educators because we're passionate about what we do, but we get to that point where we kind of feel that we don't feel so good about our work anymore. So instead of feeling invested, which is what we should be and what we probably were in the beginning, we become detached. Okay, we go ahead and this negativity kind of overtakes us. And we lose this connection, this sense of personal pride, professional pride that we take as English language instructors. Okay. Now, Mel Robbins said, though, that feeling stuck, though, here's the thing. It's actually one of the most common, most important experiences that you'll have. Why is this good? Because feeling stuck is a way for us to push, to become more proactive, to be able to, take the initiative to grow professionally. We're not burnt out. We're just kind of in a rut. Okay. Now, also, she mentioned that according to LinkedIn's Talent Solutions team at their global summit, in this COVID era, okay, burnout's always been an issue, but in the COVID era, burnout is up over to 78%. It's just incredible. That's an incredible number. So what we need to do is we really need to stop and acknowledge this. And it's not just about ourselves. We're educators, we're English language teachers. And in Kazakhstan, we're like a family, okay? And I've learned this firsthand by my experience in my work in Kazakhstan. And we need to support each other as well, too, to help others, not just ourselves, to overcome the sense of being burnt out. So what she kind of provided is like her strategy. Now I'll give mine, and Ayash will also provide her strategies as well. But she mentioned that if you are feeling stuck, the best thing is just being proactive and taking initiative, seeking out new opportunities. And I will provide this to you, some opportunities that you can potentially seek out. Now, what she adds to being burnt out to overcome this, okay, take that same proactive feeling, that same initiative, but with burnout, though, now you need to be careful because now you need to make sure that you're doing more prioritization of your tasks because this is really important. Organizing things and setting boundaries in your work and personal life. So when you feel stuck, it's not so much about prioritizing things or setting boundaries. It's not really necessary. So this is kind of one of the main differences between feeling stuck and feeling burnt out. Okay. But I just wanted to let everybody know that this is an important contrast. There's a difference between these two. If you feel stuck, it doesn't mean like you're not a good teacher or that something's wrong. No, it means that you're not being challenged what you really want. Okay. What you really want out of being a professional. So what are some of the signs? You guys mentioned the chat. You covered a lot of these signs already, I noticed. But just to kind of, again, reiterate these important signs. Again, it's not about yourself, too. It's also about others around you and recognizing this. Exhaustion. We know what I'm not talking about just being tired. Like everybody that works hard is tired. Tired can be a good thing, okay, when managed properly. But deep fatigue is different. This is that feeling that even though you've gotten a decent amount of sleep, which for a lot of us educators is hard to find that decent amount of sleep. I understand, I've seen what teachers in Kazakhstan, what you have to go through, with the type of workloads and schedules that you have. And I acknowledge that. But when you wake up in the morning, you still feel exhausted. Okay. That kind of deep fatigue. The seriousness. And I don't mean taking your job serious. I know we're all very serious about what we do because we're passionate about it. But it's that moment when you realize, when, your colleague, at your school says something funny and you kind of like laugh like a little bit. And then you start to think, oh my, I haven't laughed like in days, maybe weeks like this. That kind of seriousness. Okay. Just feeling overwhelmed. We all know this one. Too much work, not enough time, work-life balance is just out of whack. Okay. Loss. This is important. Creativity, imagination, patience, enthusiasm. Everything kind of just seems to maybe kind of disappear or go away. And you find yourself complaining a lot more. Okay. Maybe you have a much more negative mindset. Okay. And then of course, isolation. Now, okay, I get it. All of us as educators, sometimes we need those times away from our students so we can get some grading done, not constantly, the questions coming at us one after another. That's not necessarily means that it's a sign of burnout, but a much more deeper desire to just kind of, it's the thing where when your colleagues are asking, hey, I haven't seen this person today. I haven't seen August today. Is he here today? Is he okay? When you get to that situation, that kind of isolation is what I'm talking about. Okay. So here's a few strategies that I just want to kind of briefly mention. And like I mentioned that Ayash also is going to bring in as well as some great strategies too that she would like to share with all of us. The very first one that I would like to just share with everybody is what I like to say, get it down on paper. Now, maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be on paper. Okay. Now, as educators, a lot of us, in our practices, we preach and we try to promote, say, like our learners to have like a vocabulary journal, workbooks to keep things organized. So naturally, as teachers, we often will do ourselves the same thing. We may keep a little notebook with our thoughts. This is one good way to do this. One strategy to overcome burnout is to write things down, okay? But here's what I really suggest, and what's really worked for me is creating a vision board or a goal board or a dream board, whatever you want to call it. Now, in my last series, before earlier in this year, I talked and I went into a little bit more depth and details about a vision board and how it helped me to become a successful career changer. So for those of us that maybe aren't quite clear about what I mean by vision board, this is a tool that helps you use to clarify things so you can concentrate, maintain focus on what truly matters to you. The vision board can be any kind of sort of a board where maybe you display certain kinds of meaningful images, things that represent whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to have in life, okay? Now, the purpose typically is to identify your vision, make it clear, bring that clarity, to reinforce your daily affirmations, and what I like to say here, to keep your intention on your intentions, okay? So here's what typically maybe a lot of you, if you do already have kind of a goal board or a dream board or a vision board, probably maybe looks like this. You go to Pinterest or other social media sites, you'll see probably typical images that look like this with a lot of like very vivid type of stuff. Now, me personally, what did mine look like? Not quite like this, if you're curious. Mine was a little bit more plain, but still effective, okay? As English language teachers, we probably recognize that this is kind of looks like maybe like a mind map or some kind of spider diagram. Hey, I'm a teacher. That's how mine kind of looks like based on my previous background and I mix it together. That's what mine kind of comes out as. So maybe, you don't need all the vivid images, but for me, this really helped me to just strictly keep my intention on my intentions. So if you're feeling burnt out, this is a great way to kind of refocus on things, bring it back down to the soul, okay, and get some clarity, get some focus. Plus, don't keep in mind digital era. There's a lot of great apps You can go to your app store, you can download free these kind of vision boards, goal boards, and you can set it to your home screen on your phone so you get that daily affirmation. So keep this in mind going forward, okay? Another thing I just want to kind of briefly mention is that whole me time, okay? What I mean by me time. So to set aside some time, yes, time for a change. And this is spoken from a point of experience here now. I've gone through burnout. I've gone through some of the most deepest burnout to the point where I had to change my career. Okay, so I've been there. I'm not just speaking because I know of what happens with burnout. I went through it myself. I just want to say this, the difference 3 hours made in my life, 1 day a week. What I mean by the difference of just 3 hours, I set aside 3 hours every Sunday when I was trying to transition from when I decided to go from a bank manager to becoming a teacher, okay? And that every Sunday afternoon, those 3 hours allowed me to volunteer my time as an English language teacher and help me to overcome my burnout as a bank manager into transitioning into something new in my life. And look where it's led. Here I am in Kazakhstan now, okay? It worked for me to kind of overcome my burnout or to figure out what do I want to do, what do I want to be, where do I want to go in life, okay? Set aside that time. Give yourself a 2 to 3 hour block. Remember what we talked about in the beginning. What would you do with this time? Remember those 2 hours? Make it happen. Okay. Another thing I just want to briefly mention, mentors and coaches. Seek them out, okay? This is one of the great things about being an English language teaching professional is that we're a community that should be helping to support each other through teacher-to-teacher engagement. My previous career, this was a difficult thing because everybody was out for themselves. Now, I've talked to some teachers in Kazakhstan, and they've mentioned that there is kind of maybe this, unwritten competition, and some teachers are competitive, and maybe they're not really willing to help out. But there are many teachers in Kazakhstan, wonderful teachers that are willing to help you out if you ask and if you seek them out. I had a great experience with Leslie Andrews. Leslie was my mentor when I was transitioning, when I felt burnt out as a bank manager and wanted to become a teacher. She helped me to overcome a lot of things, to help me see things in this dark journey of burnout for me, okay? She taught me things like BHAG. Okay, she changed the words a little bit. If you're not aware of it, then technically it's big, hairy, audacious goal, but she taught me how to have a BHAG in life. She called it a big, huge, audacious goal. And she taught me things like big picture. And these kinds of things help me to get through my burnout, to transition into something else in my life, to see where I want to go and what I want to do as a professional. Okay, so it's important. And the last thing that I want to kind of mention here before I pass it over to Ayash is professional development. Now, the U.S. Department of State, the U.S. Embassy and Consulate in Kazakhstan, through their education cultural program, provides terrific opportunities for you guys as educators in Kazakhstan, both overseas exchanges and online. I just want to briefly state a few of these programs, okay? So one of them, okay, there's different programs for different experience levels. One of them is the Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program, or known as the T program. This is going to be for educators with some experience who probably I could say are kind of like secondary teachers, school teachers. Let's just say if you teach like approximately about 12-year-olds or up to like 18-year-olds, that's kind of the target range. So if you fit that description, you can be eligible for this exchange program. Okay. The Fulbright Visiting Scholar Program. Hello for our higher education teachers, our professors joining us right now, okay? A couple different potential opportunities for you for professional development to get out of if you're feeling burnt out. There's kind of a main core program for professors that have like 10 plus years experience, but then there's also a shorter term program for those of us that may have less experience, 3 or more years of experience. Okay, so again, you can go to the website. I put the link here on the slide to check these out. The other main one that's going on right now, guys, if you feel burnt out, apply, give this program a try. The Fulbright Foreign Language Teaching Assistant Program, the FLTA. Applications are due in June, so you got some time, okay? Take advantage of this if you're feeling burnt out. This is for in-service teachers or even pre-service teachers. I know we got some pre-service teachers joining us right now. As long as you get your diploma, though by July, you can be eligible for it, okay? But again, this is for all English language teachers in Kazakhstan. Now, if you flip it, and maybe you can't go overseas or an exchange program, there's a few things online for you to help get you to beat and overcome burnout, okay? There's a global online course, okay? Also known formally as the e-teacher program, a terrific opportunity for you. These are small groups, instructor-led, short-term courses with a lot of great contact provided by meaningful, personalized feedback from great American professors from well-known universities in the US, and you can get a certificate from those universities. There's MOOCs that are available for you, and also live American English webinars that are taking place. And so this is short-term kind of investment that can help you to overcome burnouts, okay? Now, if you have more questions, you can always throw these questions into the chat, and we'll try to answer this when we get back to Q&A, hopefully at the end if we have enough time, okay? So that was kind of what I wanted to cover. So let me go ahead and I'm going to kind of pass it over here to our special invited guest speaker, Ayash Myrzabekova. She's absolutely phenomenal. I actually just met her just recently, but I've learned so much already about her and her impact that she has with English language teaching professionals, especially in Kazakhstan. Okay, Ayash, it's all yours.
Yeah, thank you, August. Please give me a minute to open my presentation. Yeah. So can you see it now?
Yes, we can see Ayash.
Okay, that's great. Good evening, dear colleagues. August, thanks for the invitation. I'm so happy to be here with you. And let me first introduce you myself. I'm an English teacher at Aykanat High School of Burabai. And it is a unique project for me. We are working with the kids from the rural areas all around Kazakhstan, and they are studying here absolutely for free. Like the local businessmen are supporting these kids. And before that, I worked at Belim Innovation Lyceums for 5 years. And I was working with gifted boys. And I am a teacher blogger. My Instagram account is proactive.teacher. And I also have a Telegram channel, Proactivный Pedagog. And I'm also a co-founder of the educational startup Teachers Lab. I really like this experience. I think that this teacherpreneurial mindset, I think that we teachers can benefit from this mindset. And just a few words about the project we are working on. I hope that it will be interesting for you. So that the marketplace, it looks just like Teachers Pay Teachers, the American project. And actually, the big idea behind this project is to tackle the problem of inequality in education. And also, it's so exciting to work in this project because nowadays I have a team, and most of my teammates, they are from the business world, and I am a teacher, just an ordinary teacher. And working in this project, I have learned a lot of stuff. Like, for example, we have business accelerators in Kazakhstan. I have learned what is an MVP, like minimal viable products, how to conduct a customer development, so all of the nice stuff. And also my school students, 10th graders, are having the internship in our company. But to be honest, this project for me is mostly about the community, about teachers supporting each other, like August said, and probably like the biggest impact is probably creating a community of proactive teachers and sharing the content together.
And that is our Instagram channel, and we try to launch different competitions and activities for teachers. And now we are working with nice edtech companies from Russia, Belarus, Ukraine. So it's not only the Kazakhstani project. And if you have any questions on how to become a teacherpreneur, how to develop a personal brand in Instagram later on during the Q&A session, I think we can discuss that. And now let's go to our topic. Let's discuss the burnout. Actually, that is my favorite topic ever, because that is my 6th year in my teaching career. And sure, I also, like August, been there. I had a huge burnout in my 2nd year of teaching. And then I became interested in professional development. And today I want to share you the idea of Robin Jackson. She is quite a famous author, and I like her idea about 4 types of teachers. And before I start talking about the burnout, I probably want to start with a question like, why should we develop professionally? And the answer is because it can help us to tackle this problem. And once I read a very interesting research that even if teachers who had a huge burnout, even if we take a gap year, it wouldn't help. Can you imagine? So, but one thing that can help us is the professional development. And today I just want to share the concept of 4 types of teachers. And while I'll be explaining, it would be nice if you try to identify where are you right now. Okay, so the first type of teacher, let's start with the bottom line. As you can see, there are 2 axes. It's the will and the skill. So let's start with the left bottom line. It is the first type of teacher is a teacher who has got low will and low skill. They are the teachers who are not effective at all, and they are absolutely aware of that, but they just do not care. They do not care about that. And then the next type of teacher, they are teachers with high will but low skill. Very often these teachers are super hardworking. They want to develop, but they just do not know how to improve their skills. And they are the teachers who struggle a lot with classroom management, with lesson planning, but they want to get better. The problem, if we do not develop professionally, we can go down, become low will, low skill teachers. The next type of teachers is teachers who have high will and high skill. They are the best teachers at school, and they are very effective. They love the kids, they love professional development. But the problem is when they stop working on their mastery, they go down again and they become low will and high skill teachers. They are probably the most dangerous teachers at school because they are the saboteurs. They know how to work well, but they choose not to do that. And the problem with these boxes is that they are fluid. Like when we do not develop, we can become low will and low skill. But when we work on our professional development, we will never have a burnout because we will find the balance, and probably we will become even better, the master teachers, like who are even better than high will and high skill teachers. And probably that is the answer to the question, why should we work on our PD? Yep. And today I also want to share some personal ideas like how to avoid a teacher burnout. The first idea I have already mentioned that it's the continuous professional development, like it should be our lifestyle. And I love reading books, and there are a lot of nice books that are like with the content that is ready to use. For example, the book that I want to recommend to everyone is called Powerful Teaching Tools. And it is written by a cognitive scientist, the professor at the university, and an ordinary school teacher. And in this book, Petrus Bain and Pooja Agarwal, they are sharing some techniques on how to help our students study effectively. So, continuous professional development, it is something that can make our journey exciting and can help us to never stop growing as teachers. And a second idea, something that is helping is maybe get some support from the teachers and start building a teacher community. And before COVID, we used to have monthly meetings at the cozy coffee houses. And usually we used to meet with our colleagues all around the city. I used to live in Shymkent, but originally I'm from Pavlodar. And imagine once a month, we had these cozy meetings at the coffee houses. And there were like approximately 10, 12 teachers. We had 3 speakers discuss different topics, and it really helped us a lot. And nowadays, we can join the community online, like attend these webinars, like the American Corners are creating, or just join the teacher accounts in Instagram, use the social networks. And it's really nice when teachers inspire the teachers, share the hacks, share probably the study materials, the study guides. For example, as an English teacher, I'm using these communities, I'm using the materials and ideas that other teachers are creating for us. And it really helps a lot in my work. And the third strategy is about the basics. It is about the individual self-care. And here, probably, I think we as teachers should remember that we are not just the teachers, we are the personalities, the individuals. And probably we shouldn't forget about that. And it might be a nice idea to stop committing a suicide every day and to start taking care of ourselves. And we probably should start from the basics: is staying hydrated, having enough sleep. By the way, I advise the book Why Do We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Like, after you read this book, you will stop being a night owl and you will get enough sleep. It is about having some daily exercises, finding a type of sport that you like, and like develop this mindset of, I like the idea of a me time, and developing a mindset of a teacher who is strong, who has got the teacherpreneurial ideas, who gets the support from the community, and who loves himself or herself. Yep, that are my ideas. And dear colleagues, if you have any questions, we'll be so happy to answer your questions. Actually, I'm done with my presentation.
Great. Well, thank you, Ayash. Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for all that, the insightful strategies, and especially for those specific books. I saw a lot of interest in the chat. There are also some other suggestions from each other that we made in the chat as well for some other additional books that would work out too as well that might help us out. So again, that's an example of us supporting each other, that kind of engagement, where we all just kind of voluntarily will provide maybe our suggestions for reading. So I'm glad to see that in the chat. That's what it's like, that humanistic essence of what it is, being a teacher, doing what we do. So likewise, I think then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we can go into kind of a general kind of question and answer session here. Okay, with the time that we do have left, we have about a little over 10 minutes or so. So we can go ahead, we'll open it up for questions, everyone. So if you guys want to put some questions into the chat, we'll go ahead and take a look at the chat and we can try to address it, Ayash and myself, to the best of our ability.
Thank you, Ayash. Thank you, August. There is a lot of appreciation words for Ayash. Very informative presentation, they said. Thank you, Ayash. It was very useful to realize about us types of teachers. And yeah, Mr. August always said that we'll send out a master document that contains all links later, as it was for the first session. We already sent it. Let's see what kind of question we have. We have 13 minutes till the end of our session for Q&As. How to find a mentor, asking Asil.
That's a good question. Ayash, did you want to provide some insight into how maybe they can find that, a mentor?
Dear colleagues, there is a big community of teachers in Instagram, and it is even called teachers. Instagram is called a teachergram. So there are different teacher bloggers all around the world, and I'm also following some of the teachers from the USA, from Australia, and I know a lot of teacher bloggers from Russia, for example. And if you go to our Instagram account, Teachers Lab, you know that we follow all the nice proactive teachers. And if you check this list, I think you will meet a lot of teachers who are quite interesting. And every teacher grammar is so unique. Like some of the teachers are interested in emotional intelligence. Some of them are interested in, I don't know, in very, very different topics. And I believe that you can find some nice mentors there in Instagram. And it might be a little strange, like the teachers are getting support in the social media. It might be strange, but unfortunately, that is the truth. We are having, like the situation we are having right now. And like a lot of teachers, they do not get enough support at schools. And I also like the idea of, we probably might talk about teacher leadership. Like all of you, all the teachers who are present here, I believe that you are the true leaders because you're interested in professional development, and probably you can initiate some important conversations at your school and to do something at school that will help to decrease the level of burnout. Like when teachers become the leaders, when they become the bloggers, I think they have enough power to initiate some nice conversations and to change the whole situation in education. Yeah. So, dear teachers, thank you for your comments. And maybe August, you also can share some ideas on how to find a mentor.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. Now, this may sound kind of ironic, Ayash and myself, we're providing this webinar on burnout, but to be honest with you, I've been experiencing some burnout too, recently this year. This virtual world, this bubble that we're living in is really up those numbers. And so what I've done to really try to regain my focus, because I'm just a regular everyday teacher, as well. And I need a support network. And what I've done, I've reached out through social media, through Instagram. I've met a lot of wonderful teachers across Kazakhstan. I wish that I could be there in person. I hope that by the end of the summer, I will be back to Kazakhstan. But, you know, in this meantime, in this virtual world that I'm living in here, I've seeked out, you know, for support from other teachers that have, you know, in their own ways. Maybe, you know, they're not, you know, taking this official position of leading me down this pathway, but they've provided, you know, different, just basic conversation or dialogue or insight into what are they doing. And this helps to kind of energize me, and it helps to kind of bring me back to life from going down this dark path. Okay. And again, it can be just simple conversation, seeking out other educators through social media. Another group specifically that helped me is currently right now, I am teaching a graduate level course on CLIL, okay, methodology. And I met a wonderful group through Facebook. In this CLIL group, it's run by an educator that is very passionate. He's from Europe, and he provides wonderful place for forums and to engage, and just this platform so that way I can engage with other fellow CLILers around the world. And this kind of stuff, maybe it may seem, when you first think about it, you think, yeah, social media, what can I get out of it? I mean, usually it's just distractions and advertisements, maybe, and other things like that. But you know what? The power of some of these social media tools is incredible if used effectively, and especially in this COVID era, you know, not retreating inwards and trying to internalize things and just saying, I'm going to survive. I'm going to survive. I'm going to make it. You know what? Be proactive. Like Ayash was talking about, all these great different types of forums and blogs and communities. Get active. Be proactive. Okay, so basically your life and situation doesn't improve by chance. It happens by change. Okay, and definitely what Ayash said, I definitely agree with everything. So there are opportunities out there. Seek them out, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, other different sources.
Thank you, Ayash and August, for your advices. You have other questions also. The question is from Asil. Do you think that students can help avoid or minimize the burnout?
Well, that's a good question, because, well, I mean, I personally feel that it's a two-way street. Okay, what I mean by two-way street is that, you know, that these emotions and these feelings and things, it does go both ways. I mean, obviously as educators, we're hoping to inspire our learners, but it works also the other way. You'll be surprised that maybe more of the time it's the learners that help to inspire the educator. Okay, so the teacher becomes the student sometimes. And so I feel that students can help us to avoid burnout, you know, through just, again, focusing on active learning. You know, if we're using these kind of innovative practices, yes, then in turn, it can help us out to, you know, to be able to feel more, you know, again, we can reconnect, again, that mind-body reconnection with our passion and why we are doing what we do. Okay. Ayash, did you want maybe add something to that as well too?
You know, very recently I have posted like the latest post. It was about 6 levels of moral development. And it is about why are we doing what we do? Like, what is our motivation? And actually, I like the 6th level, like the best level. It is, I'm doing what I do because that's who I am. Because I cannot live a different way. So personally, I believe in intrinsic motivation. Like we are working as teachers, not because we want to get some like glory or to get our students love. Sure, it motivates us, but I still believe that the motivation should be intrinsic. Like we are working because we like that. But sure, my students motivate me for sure. But I believe that it first starts from the teacher himself or herself. But I also have noticed, like as a teacher, when we invest in our students, they start shining, And when you see how much progress they are doing, when you build a nice classroom culture, when you build a growth mindset in your students, sure, it's easier to work. And sometimes I'm calling myself a lazy teacher, because like I'm trying to do my homework to get all the techniques, all the ideas, all the strategies, to read some books. And then when you have a nice atmosphere in your classroom, a nice culture, it's so easy to be a teacher. You can become actually a lazy teacher. And so to conclude, I believe in intrinsic motivation.
Thank you, Ayash. Yeah, and we have some message from Tatiana. She said, thanks a lot, August and Ayash. Ayash, you're very welcome to speak at CAST events and share your teacherpreneur experience. I guess it will be great for teachers to gain some marketing skills. So it's like kind of invitation. And the last question for today, it's, could you please give the information about coming courses, webinars for teachers? August, it's not our first or last webinar. Would you like to share some secretly information like about the future?
Absolutely. Here, a little sneak peek into the future. Sure. So in the future, of course, I will be providing some additional webinars. So, like I mentioned earlier in the beginning, next week, I will be focusing on digital vocabulary development tools, and I will be featuring a couple of my talented students from Eurasian National University, which will be helping to demo some of these. So that's going to be coming up, and that's something we all can definitely use, especially now that we've really gotten into this kind of virtual world using different types of applications and tools. And now we're transitioning back into, teaching again face-to-face. So again, we can use that. Also, debate I have coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be focusing on debate. And as well as too, I will be providing some additional webinars in the month of May, and hopefully actually even into the month of June as well. So I am actually looking to provide a few more webinars for all the wonderful, great, talented educators of Kazakhstan. Now, also I want to mention that there will be a little 3-2-1 exit ticket for some feedback based on the things that you saw and things that you obtained and acquired. So if you can please complete that exit ticket so we can gather a little bit more some feedback based on your experience and your thought, and also any other potential questions that you may not have asked that you may like to have asked and answered. And we can always include those into the master document that we will send out later on to all of the participants. Sultanat, if you could provide the link to the exit ticket for everyone to complete for that feedback. I'll leave that exit ticket open, so that way if at some point later on tonight, whenever you have some time, you can answer that. It doesn't have to be right away immediately, but we would prefer you to do it right away. Okay?
Yeah, sure. It's already on the chat. And I also would like to demonstrate my screen to remind the people about the future session, all of them. We will make a promo on our Instagram page right here. You can find it. Please follow us, and you will know every news about future sessions. And as usual, for their memories, let's make a photo, and please turn on your camera.
Turn on your cameras. It's smile time. All right. Everybody make your funny faces. Funny faces.
Yeah, all of you here. It's a pleasure to see you. What we're gonna do today? Last time it was like thumbs up. Now maybe heart. What do you think?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like this one or this one. There's so many versions. Which one do you like? Let's do this one, right?
We could do
a little heart.
My heart's twisted. Okay, here we go.
Okay, everyone, let's see. The sun, please, could you make a 1, 2, 3, smile. One more time, 1, 2, 3. And last one. Cool, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much Ayash, again, thank you very much for joining us. Very insightful. I felt that you had a wealth of knowledge for
Thank
even
you.
for all of our experienced English language teaching professionals. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Sultanat, thank you very much. Educators across Kazakhstan, thank you very much for being here today. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, participants. August, Ayash, really appreciate. Thank you, and see you next time on the next week. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. See you next week.